Welcome back to another episode of me struggling to make another game. After developing this game for a year, I decided that I need a break from it for a bit and go exploring something new. And so Projectile Arena was born. I wanted to try and make a multiplayer game that also has built-in modding API and release it on Steam for free. By the way, if you want to check out my other game, you can go to my channel and check it out. And maybe subscribe if you like my videos. Anyway, I started off by creating a new Unity object and implementing all of the basic system of the game. Most of the system has already been written on my other game, so all I had to do is to rewrite it from Java to C#. Unity has this pretty cool rigid body feature, so I also make the system adapt to that as well. I guess I need to give a brief explanation of how the system works, so here it is. The entity system gives objects health bar and the ability to shoot projectiles. The projectile system decides how projectiles interact based on their given properties, and the movement system tells them how to move. Yeah, that's basically it. That might be way too brief of an explanation, but I suppose you don't want to look at my crappy 5,000 lines of code, so... Anyway, after all that, the game is completely empty. Yeah, I only created the system, I still haven't used it for anything, so now I have to create objects that use those systems. But because I'm making a multiplayer game, I think if I do that now, something wrong might happen, so I started working on adding multiplayer first. The game is gonna be released on Steam, so instead of using the usual networking library that C# provides, I'll use Steam Networking API. I know how networking works, so it's gonna be pretty easy learning there. Bruh. Yeah, somehow they got a whole Bible that no one can understand there. So I decided to use this facepun Steamwork instead, which is like the Steamwork API, but simplified, thanks to this Gary Newman guy. Some of you might not understand how networking works, so I'll do you a favor and explain that to you. Basically, you have a server and some clients. The clients will then connect to the server and start sending inputs to the server, which are basically just mouse clicks, mouse positions, keyboard shits and stuff. And then the server runs the game and sends information about what should appear on screen to the clients. So I created a render object, which is an object that sends render data to the clients. It works perfectly on my computer, so I asked my friend to join, and yeah, he cannot connect to my server. This led to my first big problem, and I have absolutely no fucking idea what happened. And after a whole week of trying to find out why, I found out that there's no freaking problem with my code at all. The problem has nothing to do with my code at all. And I spent days tweaking my code just to find out it was my router acting weird the whole time. How stupid was that? Couldn't have wasted more of my time. So, because I, for some stupid reason, cannot work out why my router is trying to f me up, I asked my friend to create the server for me, and it worked. Oh god, this is the exact same reason why I cannot create a Minecraft server back then. And the worst part is that, after trying to find some way to work around my f***ing router, my internet connection turned into shit. Yeah, it takes me 30 seconds to connect to a website now. Anyway, my code turned out to be working just fine, and I finally get to work on the hardest part of the game, the modding API. Yeah, I know, at this point the game just sounds kinda way too ambitious for me, but the point is that I wanted to take a little break from my other game for a bit, and work on something else, something that I had never done before, which in this case is making an online game that also has modding and releasing it on Steam. So this modding API gives you full control of the system that I added in the first place, and so you can create an entity for the player and tweak some of the stuff like movement speed, max HP and stuff like that. You can also change the object shapes and how the game renders them using the shader library. Other than that, you can give a projectile different properties like destroy itself when it hits enemies or objects, damage enemies, bounce off collisions, decay after traveling a distance, teleport the owner to itself on destroyed, come back after traveling some distance, spawn other projectiles after a certain amount of time, make them spin, split into other projectiles on destroyed, follow enemies or cursor, and many other more. I just cannot list them all. I also made an editor somewhat similar to the Unity editor to help you make your own mod much easier. It obviously is awful, but don't worry, I'll make it much better in my next devlog. And as I wanted to release the game on Steam, I first need to have a Steam page. So to have a Steam page, the first thing you need to do is pay them a small fee of $100. Jesus Christ, what a f***ing reasonable price for a free game. Yeah, sure, yeah. Anyway, I just fill in all the required information, name it Projectile Arena, and submit it for review. And boom! The game now has a Steam page, which you can go ahead and visit it now. Link in the description. With that, the game is pretty much finished. I hope so. Definitely it's not true though. I still have a lot of things to do before releasing it. For instance, I need to change the stupid UI that looks awfully crappy right now because I'm currently using Unity's default UI. The shader library is also lacking a lot. Like, the only shader it supports right now is a shader that can only render single color objects, no glow or anything else. I also want to create more projectile properties so you can customize your projectile better, and the game also needs some default mods so you can play the game without having to create a mod first. I think I'll start off by making mods inspired by some of the Minecraft minigames I know. Anyway, I have to finish the video now. Thanks so much for watching. Smash like and subscribe right now or I'll smash your mouse.